Hello. Good afternoon. My name is Jordan Howard. I'm 18 years old, and I'm a student at Santa Monica College here in Santa Monica. And I recently graduated from the Environmental Charter High School. It's in Lawndale, still Los Angeles, California. As an entering freshman at Environmental Charter High School, I only went to the school because it was a college prep school, not because of the environmental aspects. I really didn't even notice that it was an environmental school because I didn't care. I was very resistant to anything green. I was very resistant to anything in the environmental movement because whenever I heard someone talk about climate change, it was always about the gloom and doom. It was always about how we were going to lose biodiversity and the polar bears are sinking, and it was never what I could do, and it never inspired me, so I just shut it down. I just shut it down. And can you roll it back to my name, please? I'm sorry. Not because I want you to see my name, but just because it's not that time yet. But so a few years ago, when I was actually a sophomore in high school, Marcus Erickson, who we saw the video from him and Anna from the Algalita Marine Research, he came into my school and he gave us a presentation on plastics and the Great Pacific Garbage Patch. And that was the first time, that was in about 2007. That was the first time that I had ever heard of the Great Pacific Garbage Patch. And the first time that I learned that plastic pollution was actually bigger, much bigger than going out and cleaning up a beach. And I was appalled. He showed us a long string of items that he found on a beach walk in Hawaii. It had an animal leg, toys, lighter, a lighter for cigarettes. It had different plastic items, and as he's talking about it, I'm like, I use that. And it was the first time that I actually saw that I was a part of the problem. I mean, I was resistant to the green movement, of course. Like, I didn't want to hear it all, but I didn't litter. So I thought that I wasn't a part of the problem. But I was a part of the problem. I used styrofoam when I went to restaurants. You took a plastic bottle places. I use plastic forks all the time. I learned that it was me. I was a part of the problem. But the most important fact that I learned that day was that I didn't know that plastic pollution was that bad. I didn't know that there were actually solutions. I didn't know this before he told me. And that's when I found out that I was negative. I was resistant to the green movement because I wasn't educated in the right way. I wasn't educated on how serious the problems were. And more importantly, I wasn't educated on the solutions, what I could do in my life to change my lifestyle. And then I learned about the carcinogens and bisphenol A and phthalates, and that just took it to a whole nother level. I was scared, very scared. And people don't use these items, the styrofoam, the plastic forks, because they don't care. Well, most people. Most people don't use them because they don't care. I was in high school with them, and I sit next to the person that heard the same presentation as me, and they still use it. But most people don't use it because they don't care. It's not apathy. It's because they don't know. They don't know how much of a problem it is, and they don't know what they can do instead. So my junior year of high school, I created the Rise Above Plastics program, student speaker series, with the Surfrider Foundation and Green Ambassadors. And Surfrider has had this Rise Above Plastics program forever. I don't know how long, but for a long, long, long time. But they never had it for youth. And what I wanted to do, I wanted to educate people like me. I wanted to educate people in my community in South Los Angeles. I wanted to educate youth, high schools, middle schools, and elementary schools. So that was the plan for Rise Above Plastics. I trained juniors and seniors at my high school to give this presentation. We went all around Los Angeles and gave a presentation on plastics and the harms of plastics on humans and animals, but also the solutions. And we went to different businesses, not just high schools. We also went to businesses like Google and IKEA, because people listen when it's a child standing in front of them telling them that you're doing wrong and you need to start doing right. And we learned with Rise Above Plastics, we're not only keeping it in the Environmental Charter High School. We actually have trained students in Pasadena to give the presentation, and we've given them the tools and trained them on how to present and how to change the presentation however they want to as well. And we're actually going to San Francisco. Well, they're going to San Francisco. I don't go there anymore. So I've handed it on to someone else that's taking care of it, and they're going to San Francisco in a few months to train students in San Francisco to give the presentation. And so it was when I was thinking about this rise up of plastics, the most important thing, everyone that I was in that room with, we were inspired. And we learned that we could do something. Everyone at Environmental Charter High School, it's kind of like the Green Movement. Everyone, don't get me wrong, okay? But it's kind of like the Green Movement. Everyone at ECHS is walking around with stainless steel bottles. The people that loved fashion and sewing make Fort pouches, and they gave them to their friends. And everyone is carrying around stainless steel bottles. We're refusing plastic, all at Environmental Charter High School, all 450 of us. But it wasn't enough. It wasn't enough. We all had networks. Some of us had friends. All of us had family. All of us had family, and all of us lived in this community where you go to the restaurant and you get styrofoam. And if you ask the owner, why do you have styrofoam? They look at you like, why not? What else is there? I bought it because it was an option at the grocery store. So we needed to educate our community. We needed to educate where we came from. So, and I've learned through everything that I've done in the Green Movement that the biggest thing is to educate people. I've learned that my passion is really education, because my story, I didn't care anything about anything green, but once I was educated on what I could do in my lifestyle, I took it as empowerment. And we've also been to elementary schools teaching elementary age kids. We do not go to schools with 5-year-olds and tell them that the reproductive systems are going to be jacked up because they're eating plastic. We don't. We cater it to the audience, of course, always. But I've really learned that plastic, we use this all the time. And my first reaction when I saw that presentation, I remember, I thought I was really optimistic or crazy. I said, wow. I use plastic all day long, so it's easy to get rid of it's easy to end plastic pollution. I mean, I use this every day. We just have to change our behavior and stop everything we use. By the way, my nail polish, it's Zoya, no phthalates in it, okay? No phthalates in it. So, and I've learned that it's our job as environmentalists, as environmental activists, whatever you call yourself, it's our job. Everyone in this room is educated on plastic. I mean, that's why we're here. But what we really need to do is educate the people out on that beach that are polluting right now. We really need to talk to people that don't know and people that are the source of the problem. We need to reach out to other people that we usually don't reach out to. And no, we can't go to the Mid-Pacific Gyre and get on a boat and all scoop that plastic up, but we can stop using plastic in our homes because the production will slow and it'll eventually stop. And I believe in using the arm of government to ban plastic bags and styrofoam, but only to a certain extent. I think education will move that political movement that we need. The problems are critical to teach, but let's inspire with solutions. Thank you.